This is my senior legacy project of career choice, and the intended career that I am heading towards is that of international business. So, this presentation is going to be a basic knowledge and insight into the world of international business and how to be successful in said world.
Here we have the definitions for business and international business. For business, it is an organization or economic system where goods and services are exchanged for one another or for money. They can be privately owned, not for profit, or state owned. However, it differs slightly for international business, which is defined as the exchange of goods and services among individuals and businesses in multiple countries, or a specific entity such as a multinational corporation or an international business company that engages in business among multiple countries. In all honesty, the bottom line is that they are both businesses, whether it's a national or international scale. The main difference between the two definitions is that one competes only in a national market, while the other faces international markets and regulations. So this slide just shows various components of an international business. This includes importing and exporting, licensing, direct investments, and strategic alliance and joint ventures. Importing and exporting is the easiest way of entering a new market with a small amount of capital. You have licensing, which is an arrangement between companies of different countries. One company normally allows the other to use its brand name, copyright, patent, technology, trademark, or other assets in exchange for an amount known as royalty based on sales. So for this, you can think of Starbucks because there are Starbucks all over the world that sells the same quality beverages and the same looking and very similar looking stores under licensing contracts. Direct investment. A foreign direct investment is a company's physical investment into building a plant in another country or acquisition of a foreign firm or subsidiary. So direct investments allow companies to access foreign markets and act as domestic businesses in that market with a full scale of activities from manufacturing to selling. This you can think of a lot of the car companies we have, like Audi, Volkswagen, etc. They're foreign companies, but they have manufacturing plants in the US, allowing them to sell and compete in our car markets. And then you have strategic alliance and joint ventures. So a strategic alliance is a joining of two or more companies for mutual gain. They form a mother company, if you will. So a special type of this is called a joint venture, where the partners mutually found a new company. So this new mother company allows the companies to share development and production costs, technology, and sales network. For example, Motorola and Toshiba formed a strategic alliance to develop a manufacturing process for microprocessors, and then General Mills and Nestle formed a company called Cereal Partners Worldwide to produce and sell cereal. Society within business is something that you may or may not have realized because society is literally a large business. The food you eat comes from business. The clothes you wear comes from a business. Traveling is a business in itself. Real estate, a business in itself. Everything you do and interact with really is a business. And society, if you think about it as a business, we're swayed by different market changes. We are in a general movement towards something as a goal. We trade, we do everything. So we are a business. You can also think of business through the eyes of thinking it through a worldly view, where each country is its own business. You think of the figurehead, such as the president or queen or parliament, as the CEO or board of directors, and the various companies, or in this case countries, compete in an international market, which is true. You just have to think of it as businesses, and the way the countries are run, it is run as a business. So the bottom line is that business exists everywhere you look and allows us to thrive, whether it's from food to clothing to travel to living. It's there and it allows us to thrive. This slide just shows various components that play into business again. These include value creation, marketing, sales, value delivery, and finance. Value creation is literally in the name. It's discovering what people need or want and then creating it. Typically, value creation is more successful when you create a need for something because then people feel like they have to have it and sales will soar. Marketing is attracting attention and building demand for what you've created. Sales are turning prospective customers into paying customers. Value delivery is giving your customers what you've promised and ensuring that they're satisfied. For example, if you have a high quality, a high price sort of goes along with that. But if you have a low price and high quality, that's a good deal. But then a high price and low quality, people are going to get a bit irritated if they find they can go somewhere else for cheaper. And so they'll start returning your product and you'll lose revenue. And then finance is bringing in enough money to keep going and making your efforts worthwhile. So just getting a profit. This slide just shows another breakdown of the business components. This one includes the consumers, the competitors, the channels of distribution, media, financial, strategic, tactical, and incremental portions of international business. It can really vary depending on what business type it is, what market setup you're looking at, but there tends to be a general idea of what happens, and these are the general means that you need to pay attention to when in order to have a successful business, international or not. So this slide just shows the various resources that make up a business. We're just focusing on two right now, and those are natural and man-made resources. So your natural resources aren't just natural minerals and such. It also includes your humans. So these are your actual employees from accounting to IT, HR management, etc. Added to oils, gems, stones, and minerals. And then you have your man-made resources, which is literally what it says in the name. It's your machinery and man-made objects that go into the production of your business. So those two resources, natural and man-made, add together and create the business. This slide just shows a basic hierarchy of an international company. Obviously, this is not a set in stone outline for every single company that exists. It's just a basic. So it's just to show that the larger the company is, the harder communication is, and the farther away from the next tier you are. The very leftmost box is the board of directors, and from there you go to the board of directors for North America, the board of directors for Europe, and such. From there, it's broken down further into different countries such as France, Italy, the United Kingdom, etc. And from then, it can even be broken down into region or state. But from there, you have, your CEOs, your CMOs, who are your chief marketing officers, your CFOs, your chief financial officers, and then it goes down to VP, general managers, and then the actual workers. So if you're starting from the bottom and wanting to work your way up, it is a lot of work, but it's possible. It's just a lot of work. This slide just shows the international edge companies will gain from going international. This includes new markets, which leads to new consumers, and you have a different supply and demand shift. You're in front of the paradigm shift in the markets. For example, if something were to pop up on the technology scene in China and you had a company branch that was in China, you'd be able to predict that shift in technology over in, say, the United States or Europe or whatnot. And then you could change your price accordingly. You could offer it sooner. You could be ahead of the game, which would put you in the forefront of people's minds, and then they'll see you as a reliable company. You also have an increase in market shares. There's outsourcing and network growth that comes from going international, all of which play into a bigger picture of your business. Along with the international edge, there are problems and issues that will arise, such as your barriers of entry. These are your first and foremost problems that you have to deal with. You have to ask yourself questions like, what do companies already offer your product? Are they cheaper than yours? How do you get your quality up there, quality and quantity match? How do you spend less and make more? All those sorts of questions. The barriers of entry are basically a way to regulate the business world and business scene without officially doing it, if that makes sense. So it's like those stepping stones that prevent a lot of startup companies from hitting the big leagues. You also have to deal with regulation, trading laws, and governing bodies. because what may be culturally accepted here in the US may not be culturally accepted somewhere else. So you have to make sure you're not giving out a product that would offend people or mock people or anything like that. There's also a list of companies that the United States is allowed to trade with, and there is also a list of companies that the US is not allowed to trade with. And that list is ever changing, so you have to constantly be aware of that, because let's pretend for a moment that I own a tennis racket company. If I have a tennis racket company and I have a shipment that I think is going to Paris, okay, ship it, it's going over Paris, it's in Paris, it's legal for me to trade with Paris, I'm good. However, let's say I sold it to a Nike in Paris. Well, Nike thinks, oh, okay, it's okay for me to go ahead and send it to Scotland. So it doesn't stay in Paris, it moves to Scotland. But let's pretend it's illegal for the United States to trade with Scotland. Because my shipment ended in Scotland, I am responsible for that. And once the government finds out, I'm going to lose my company and more than likely go to jail. And this happens a lot more than you would assume it does. So you really have to be aware of that list and different regulation and trading laws that constantly change. This slide just is like a general summary of the positives and negatives of going international. You have your networking, reputation, and credibility. You have biases, rivals, low costs, growth, risks, gains, governing bodies, etc. You can't say for certain whether every single company should go international. My opinion is that they shouldn't. I think you really need to sit back and look at your company and look at your goals and morals as a company. Because if your goal is to, say, sell chocolate chip cookies like grandma makes them, you're going to want a homely, family like feel, and chances are you're not going to be able to do that in two different countries across the ocean. So you really need to look at your goal as a general company and what you're going to have to sacrifice in order to go international. I am a senior now. It is 2014, almost Christmas break, so it's almost time for 2015. So I've been at early college for a good 4 years now. And I've learned a lot about myself, school, and life in general through early college, as cheesy as I know that sounds. But there are certain qualities that I feel are especially important for international business that have been fostered through early college. And those include focus, forward thinking, organization, and a regimented schedule. Regimented schedule, not so much in the fact that I wake up every day at this time and I go to bed every day at this time, because that's really not how life works. It's more regimented in the sense of being able to be adaptable, and that's especially important in business because things change within the blink of an eye. Your business could go from being at the top to being dissected and destroyed. So it really is important to stay ahead of the game and have these qualities that ECF has fostered in order to be successful in really any endeavor, but specifically international business. No matter what career you go into, you need to be intuitive in your thinking. But I feel like that's especially important for international business because you do have to stay ahead of the times. Network is super important to business because business is about playing the person. So you need to create a network up and learn the people, gather a network to support your endeavors because you'll accumulate not a following, but a group of people you can trust who can help you and further your knowledge. I also recommend doing an internships if you can to get into international business because whether it is paid or not, it allows you to have true life experiences, which really helps you see if it's a fit for you, if you want to do this for the rest of your life, what portion of business you want to work in, that type of thing. So I really do recommend doing internships because it'll help you gain those true life experiences. And in conclusion, I am fascinated by the world of international business, and I believe it is a fundamental factor in today's society, which is why it is my chosen career path.